Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Van Wagner, and I serve as the Associate Dean for Students in the UAB School of Medicine. We'll begin the ceremony for the 2021 commencement in just a moment. We're so pleased to be able to have today's ceremony in service in person. You're helping us make this possible and safe by wearing your masks over your nose and mouth for the entire time you're in the arena, sitting only in assigned seats, opened up to promote distancing, and complying with Bartow staff and security personnel. All these measures that you're helping us with take the focus off COVID and put it where it belongs on our graduating students. As a reminder, you can find a PDF of the full commencement program at go.uab.edu/SOM commencement. The COVID-19 pandemic has certainly presented the class of 2021 with unique challenges. They've navigated disruptions in their clinical training. They were the first class of medical students to have residency interviews completely online. And they made decisions about their futures, often without seeing the cities they'll live in or the residency programs where they will begin training. During this unusual and often trying time and circumstances of the past year, this class has exhibited the aspects of service, concern for others, resiliency, perseverance, and other hallmarks of what make a successful physician. The future of medicine, no doubt, is in good hands, and that's what we're here to recognize today. Now, if you are able, please stand for the procession. It's time for us to celebrate the UAB School of Medicine Class of 2021.
You may be seated. I want to welcome all of you to our 2021 commencement ceremony. It's been a tremendous and challenging year, and in some ways we're still living 2020 as we're wearing our masks, but that soon hopefully will be a thing of the past. This ceremony is special for all of us, in particular our students. I'm Selwyn Vickers, the Senior Vice President of Medicine and the Dean of the UAB School of Medicine. We're here today to celebrate the completion of our medical school by these students, which has been a pivotal step in their education and training as physicians. The students who will be hooded today stand out above all classes for their resilience, their grit, their innovation, and their commitment to good for all. They represent 182 new physicians for our profession. 35% of them of the class will be staying in Alabama in residency for training. The rest will go all over our country at some familiar and outstanding institutions to move on to their residency programs. Students, we're proud of each of you, each for the sacrifices you've made, the hard work that you have put in this last year, and we wish you success and happiness in all your future endeavors. We wish the best outcomes for you and your patients as you seek to engage the care of men and women in this country. I'm delighted also to recognize several special guests today, both those who are here and those who are watching online. First, our guest speaker, Congressman Terry Sewell. You'll hear more about her. She is a great friend of UAB and a personal friend. Our CEO of our health system, Dr. Will Fernandes. Our regional campus deans, our associate and assistant deans, our executive vice dean, our department chairs, our career advisors, our clerkship directors, our faculty preceptors, our learning community mentors, and other distinguished faculty members. Yes, all of these are important in the training of our students and creating an environment for them to become the best physicians that they can be and some of the best physicians in America. Those who in person form the path of honor that you saw our students walk through are critical to their training success. I ask that you join me in recognizing the contribution of these physicians who've given their all to train and take care of patients and to make sure these students graduate as some of the best physicians in the country. A warm hand of thank you and applause. Obviously for our students, and we'll ask this at different points in time, you wouldn't be here without the support of so many loved ones. And there were clearly times in this planning that we didn't know who would be able to join and celebrate this service with you. We, like you, are delighted that your loved ones are here to really take part in one of the most memorable days of your academic career. So we're excited for that. But I'll ask you to give your loved ones and all those who supported you a hand of applause as well. At this time, I would like to ask Daniel Sharaf, the president of the fourth-year class, to come forward and to address the class.
Dean Vickers, members of the board, faculty, families, friends, and fellow classmates, it is an honor and privilege to address you this afternoon. I am very proud to be representing the University of Alabama School of Medicine's graduating class of 2021. I'm grateful to all of our magnificent instructors, phenomenal administration, and most importantly, to our parents, family, and friends who sacrificed so much for us for this day to be possible. Simply stated, On behalf of my fellow graduates, it is a pleasure for me to thank you. We all appreciate the fact that you were able to join us today, whether in person or live streamed, to celebrate what is for us a monumental achievement. Medical school was a roller coaster of ups and downs, but the hidden benefit of medical school is that it solved a lot of our personal problems, because by choosing to attend medical school, we had no personal life and thus no problems. And since some of you didn't laugh at the joke, perhaps Dr. Leon, you'd consider adding stand-up comedy as an elective to the curriculum. But then again, there is really nothing funny about becoming a physician. Ours is the only profession where people expect you to be God and are surprised when you're not. If we all learned one thing during the past 4 years, it's to respect the sanctity of life, to value its fragility, and take nothing for granted. Soon, but not today, the fact that we were able to be together today, side by side, face to face, won't seem like such a big deal. But today, it is a big deal. This past year was an anomaly, of course. If we look at the past 4 years, medical school has morphed our reasoning and taught us to think critically and clinically about the issues we face today and we will face in the future, just the way doctors are supposed to. The practice of medicine may be noble, but is far from perfect. It can be good, but it is not always fair. We must constantly remind ourselves of this as we labor to improve our shared practice. It is common at graduations for someone to say, "We stand on the shoulder of giants." I fear that more often than not, that is an empty platitude, or at best an exaggeration. But not in our case. We truly do stand on the shoulders of giants, one whose oath we must take. Hippocratic would accept nothing less from us than continuous desire to expand, deepen, and transmit our knowledge as healers. As we continue to grow and learn as doctors, we will confront situations that force us to think of the world in terms that are not simply yes or no, or right or wrong. There will be situations that don't fit into a riddle-esque multiple choice board exam question. There's a lot of gray in medicine. And today, we are faced with unimaginable opportunities. With evolving technologies, we may be able to eliminate disease. We may be able to prevent future generations from grief and suffering before they are born. But there is that gray area. Do we as a society, as a people, as a species, gain or lose more by this new world which we have developed? We'll have decisions to make that up until now have been in the realm of science fiction, but now fiction is rapidly becoming possible. And the beauty in that is that we will be the guides taking our patients and their families on a road never before traveled. Saying that this is an awesome responsibility does not even come close to what we will face. But it was our decision to enter this field, and it is our commitment to excel in it. Therefore, we must strive to find beauty in that gray. We must revel in the nuances and complexities that make medicine an art. Not just a science, but this art, which I seek, is not always like the Sistine Chapel. Sometimes it's a stick figure drawing that can feel very burdensome because its simplistic appearance is actually filled with details. And that stick figure notion may be incredibly challenging for us as caregivers. My own grandmother recently told me a story of a woman who, after a long, hard, aggravating day at work, visited her own grandmother, and she was seeking sympathy and compassion and understanding. What she got instead was wisdom. After telling her grandmother her tale of woes, the elderly woman rose and went into the kitchen and put 2 pots filled with water on the stove to boil. In one, she placed a potato, in the other, she placed an egg. After the pots had boiled, she looked at her granddaughter and said, "Before I placed this potato into the pot, it was hard, and if I dropped it on the floor, nothing would have happened. When I placed the egg into the pot, it was fragile, but dropping it on the floor would have resulted in a mess. Now, when I drop the egg, the shell cracks, but the egg is not damaged." Then came the wisdom. When faced with adversity and the heat is on, you have to decide if you're going to be a potato and turn to mush, or be an egg and become strong and resilient. Clearly, even on our worst days, and we will have them, when medicine feels daunting, overwhelming, and at times impossible, we must remind ourselves of the countless number of people who believed in us more than we have believed in ourselves. And of course, the people who are depending on us. Our day may be bad, but we cannot let that affect our patients. So today, we share this achievement, and along with it, the responsibilities that come with the territory. We share the not-so-simplistic nature, but then again, we didn't sign up for simple. No one who wanted to simple ever graduated from medical school. Not many other fields require the level of detail and understanding that medicine demands. We hold ourselves to incredibly high standards because we know what is expected of us. We can seldom afford to forget these facts that we have learned because they may someday influence people and patients that we take care of. We also can never forget to think like human beings because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, the practice of medicine is deeply personal and a human experience. It is a delicate and demanding art such that the product of well-practiced medicine can result in renewed life for our patients, free from suffering, fear, and anxiety, and the illness which is burden. Especially today, we must treat also the non-biological issues that plague our patients. We must become complete artists, always pushing our ambitions and dreams for what medicine can accomplish for our patients. So, my fellow graduates, in a few minutes, we will become physicians, finally achieving the goal of the journey that we started 4 or more years ago. Knowing our class and what we have endured and what we are capable, I am confident that every single one of us is ready to take that step. So with that, let's go out there and make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech, Daniel. We will all work hard in the midst of being boiled to be an egg and not a potato. I appreciate that analogy. It was well said. As we begin this process to introduce our speaker today, I'll remind us that the truth and the honor and the science by which these students have chosen a career path is the foundation of which we as a medical profession fought this pandemic. This class, as I speak to you, should not be quick to forget this year. It's unique in that you've had well over 166 million people infected, 33 million in America alone, and in our own state, over 10,000 deaths. You or I may never witness this again, but more than likely we will have one sometime in the future. And so, in a day or so, on our campus, besides the hospital, the mask will go away. And it will go away because of the power of the science in the field that you've chosen for your career. So I say that to everyone here. I encourage you to get vaccinated. Alabama ranks 48th and 49th in vaccinations. And yet this is the heart of what each of these students has sought to have their career focus on and make an impact for good for our students. It's remarkable that the science that we produce has reduced a vaccine that is both safe and effective. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for our graduation. As I'd given some thought over the time with our leadership and students and who might do this, particularly in the season where we've seen the massive both death and infection, we've seen the social unrest that was around George Floyd's death, and we've seen the play out of significant and severe disparities that we tolerated for years linked with lethality from COVID-19. I thought no better person who's fought the battle for trying to make sure Alabama would be able to stand strong and tall to do this would be Congressman Terry Sewell. Terry is a native of Alabama and a product of the Black Belt, like myself. She was the first African-American valedictorian at Selma High School, a product of 2 long-term educators, her mom a librarian, her dad a coach, and she, as you know, represents us in her 6th term as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Terry is a graduate again of Selma High School, but subsequently an honors graduate of Princeton and Oxford, and eventually receiving her law degree from Harvard. She returned here in large part to make sure she could serve her family and her state. She was the first African-American woman of a partner in a firm in Birmingham, a large firm, and then subsequently ran for Congress to really make a broad impact on our state. She's a proud product of our state, but most of all, she's a great friend of UAB, and she's a person who's lived through this year like you, who has a unique perspective of what the world will hold for you as physicians. Congressman Sewell, thank you, and we look forward to your message.
It is truly an honor to be here at the University of Alabama Birmingham School of Medicine's commencement. You guys are about to become doctors. That's a big deal. And that's a deal that I know you did not make alone. It's a journey that's been long, long overdue. And I think that a round of applause is in order for all of the wonderful support that you receive from your family and friends who are all here today. They're the real heroes. I'm especially proud to be here today because I get to represent UAB in the halls of Congress each and every day. It is truly an honor for me to have the opportunity to personally thank the dean, the faculty, the wonderful president of UAB, Ray Watts, the president of your system, Dr. Will Fernanny. I can truly say that UAB is a crown jewel of Alabama's 7th Congressional District. I also would like to thank Dr. Vickers for the introduction and for inviting me today. Dr. Vickers has been a tremendous leader in the School of Medicine. He is an Alabama gem and an American treasure. Dean Vickers' contribution not only to this institution and to the state, but to the field of medicine are truly extraordinary. We're so lucky that one of Alabama's native sons chose to bring his talents and skills right back home. Thank you. To the great class of 2021, congratulations on this extraordinary accomplishments. I will be brief because I can tell you that in my graduation from Harvard Law School, I remembered a lot of things, but I did not remember what the commencement speaker said. But I do want to say that we live in extraordinary times, and you're becoming a doctor in this amazing field where you can save lives, where you can research and find cures to disease. What an amazing power that you will possess. I say to you, use it wisely. Show compassion, show humility, show strong ethics, and look to seek to equitably distribute the limited resources that we have in this nation. I say that because I get the great honor of representing my home district, the district I grew up in, the district that includes Birmingham, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, and my hometown of Selma. But it's also the district that includes 9 Black Belt counties. Yes, counties of Alabama's rural Black Belt, of which I am a proud product. It's also a district that has lots of challenges. A district where the rate of poverty is the highest in the state, and I dare say one of the highest in the nation. It's a district where the median income for a family of 4 is $38,000 in 2021 terms. It's a district with high dropout rate, a district with the highest crime rate. But here's what I know for a fact. The district that I am so proud to represent in the halls of Congress is a district that is truly resilient. I come from great stock. Why? Because these are the people, ordinary Americans that had the temerity to make this country live up to its ideals of equality and justice for all. It was because of this district that we have civil rights and voting rights, and I dare say that the world has better human rights. My challenge each and every day is how do I leverage the amazing assets of the district to help the vulnerable and needy people of the district? I say that because this district is home to UAB, to the University of Alabama, to Stillman College, Alabama State University. It is the district that also houses the corporate headquarters of Alabama Power and Regions Bank. It is a district that also has Mercedes-Benz and Hyundai. So how can this district have so many vulnerable people? What keeps me up at night is how do I leverage the talents of this amazing district to help the people of this district? And that's where you, the class of 2020, come into mind. I submit to you that you are getting a title today, the title of doctor, but you will spend a lifetime earning that title. For the privilege of receiving this degree that you worked so hard for, you will spend a lifetime earning it with every patient you care for, every hour of research that you conduct, the countless moments of consulting, teaching, counseling, and honing your craft. You will earn it. And I simply say, do so honorably, do so ethically, do so compassionately, and do so humbly. When I think of the district that I represent and what we've gone through this past year, this pandemic has laid bare systemic disinvestments in infrastructure, in healthcare, huge gaps in health disparities that have only gotten widened. The true heroes of this pandemic are the people in your profession who, on the front lines of this pandemic, delivered services, helped to find ways to compassionately deal with the virus, and then to discover a vaccine and a way out. Boy, that's powerful. What a powerful legacy that you are inheriting. Being a doctor is a noble profession, but it is also a people profession. Like me, as doctors, you are public servants. So serve the people. Serve all of the people. I am asking you to be more of an advocate than a practitioner. Be an advocate for your profession, an advocate for your patients, and an advocate for your community. As doctors, you all are so much more than healthcare professionals. You are now pillars of a community that needs your leadership, that relies on your advice, that relies on you to help us be better. People listen to doctors. They respect doctors. Scientists and doctors are part of the most respected professions across this world. The pandemic has brought and taught us so many lessons, and perhaps none more true than we are all interconnected. During this public crisis, the words of Martin Luther King that he delivered right here in Birmingham in a letter to Birmingham jail rang true. We are all caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly also affects all indirectly. As we've learned from this pandemic, no more matters. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you're from. The health of one of us directly impacted the health of all of us. We are also interconnected as people in this great country. And we all have a role to play in its progress. That is why you cannot simply be practitioners, scientists, researchers. You must be advocates. You must use your voice to advocate for the best healthcare policies, to advocate for what's best for your patients, and to be stewards for the equitable distribution of resources and opportunity. I'm going to say that again. What do I mean by the equitable distribution of resources and opportunities? I'm saying that in order for America to live up to the American dream, everyone should have the right to reach their God-given potential. And that includes to have better healthcare opportunities and outcomes. That's where you come into play. Like so many in the Black Belt, I have lots and lots of stories of constituents of mine that I want to relay. I will sum it up in one constituent, one patient, if you will. The story of Pamela Rush. Pam lived in Lowndes County, Alabama, which is only 2 hours south of here. She died last year of COVID-19. Like so many in Alabama's Black Belt, Pamela's health care outcome was limited by her environment. Pamela suffered from diabetes and heart disease, along with a myriad of other chronic conditions. Lowndes County does not have a hospital. There's only one primary physician there, and there are no specialists. On top of suffering from chronic illness, she lived with raw sewage in her backyard because of the failing water system infrastructure in her community. Her mobile home was filled and surrounded by trash because she didn't have a community trash service that would pick up her litter. Her mobile home was also falling around her. No quality grocery store with fresh vegetables, with fresh fruit. Every single indicator of poverty in America found its home in this one person, Pamela. Pamela may have survived had she been able to get tested sooner. But because she didn't have a reliable car, she had to wait until a family member could take her to get tested for COVID-19. She was in the emergency room on a ventilator when she got her diagnosis, positive. By then it was too late. What keeps me up at night is the knowledge that there are countless other Americans living just like Pamela. Many are one missed car ride from an early diagnosis that could save their lives. Across the 7th District, I've learned that despite the world-renowned, amazing medical care that UAB Hospital provides to their patients, there are countless Alabamians in rural and underserved communities who will never experience the care that you all can provide because they simply cannot afford to get there. In 2019, 18% of adults in Alabama reported that despite the need to see a doctor, they didn't have the transportation to get there. Some of them would call my office and ask for a ride to the doctor's office for a test, or a ride to the pharmacy for medication. Now, I believe that government can be a force for good, but in conjunction with the ingenuity, the creativity of public and private partners, we must address the challenges that allow so many people like Pamela to fall through the cracks. As a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, which has jurisdiction over Medicare and CMS, I have a powerful platform. And with you all as my asset, we can have a voice to make a difference so that more Pamelas will not fall through the cracks. I have been championing legislation to expand transportation benefits and reimbursements through Medicare. But I can't do it alone. My voice is not enough. We need your voice, your voices, as doctors to advocate and help formulate health policy. My hope for you as a class is that you will engage in the politics of people. Politics affects everything we do. But we who are public servants, by virtue of the amazing opportunities and the blessings that we have by our degrees and by our fortitude and by our faith, must be a blessing to others. That is why I think it is critically important that you engage in policy making. My constituents like Pamela can't afford for medical professionals like you all to sit on the sidelines, while politicians and insurance and pharmaceutical companies make policies that directly influence their outcomes. And neither can you. Take it from me, someone who has participated in the lawmaking process now for a decade, the cost of apathy on part of any one of us is enormous. We lose out when experts like yourselves do not participate in the political process of making good, sound healthcare policy. I strongly believe that patriotism is having the courage to examine and identify flaws in our systems and believing in the power of ourselves and our communities to come together to fix them. It doesn't matter if you're an elected official, a doctor, or even a sound technician right here at the Bartow Arena. All of us have a role to play, and all of our roles are critically important in making this nation live up to the true ideals that are in our Constitution. Now, growing up in Selma, Alabama, which was ground zero for voting rights, I am reminded every day of the powerful change that can be enacted by ordinary people. The foot soldiers of the civil rights movement were not just trying to overthrow government or upend democracy. They believed that our country could and should be better. And the only way that it can be better is if all of us do our part. So I hope that you will choose to care. I hope that you will choose to participate in the people process of making policy. And I hope that you will choose to go the extra mile for the most vulnerable patients, those who sit in front of you, and those who, like Pamela, couldn't afford to get there, but somehow did. I hope that you will see them. I hope that you will listen to them. I hope that you will offer empathy and compassion. You have the opportunity to see people at their most vulnerable. Do so with honor. Do so with compassion. Do so humbly. Whatever affects one directly does affect all of us indirectly. My mom has a saying, bloom where you're planted. Don't wait to be a member of Congress to do your part. In fact, members of Congress rarely do their part. They talk a lot. But we also know that we cannot affect change, real change, without grassroots activism. It is rare that those of us in these rarefied places with these rarefied seats get there by ourselves. And it's rarer still that we're informed by experts in those areas in developing those critical policies that can and do make a difference in healthcare outcomes. With every patient you treat, I hope that you will see them. Equity in healthcare necessitates that you see their humanity and let their humanity be a reflection of your own humanity. Your bedside manners matter. Your tone and your demeanor matter, not just your diagnosis. The patient-doctor relationship is a human connection that is based on trust. It is said that a rising tide lifts all boats, and because of that, I'm asking you for a season not just of service to the ones who can afford to get to you as their doctor, but a service to all mankind, and especially those who are vulnerable. Everyone deserves to have an opportunity to reach their God-given talent. And I know that we're all interconnected, not just because of this pandemic, but because of everything that I try to do each and every day to represent the people back home. I believe to my core that a rising tide does lift all boats, and if we help the least of these among us, we help all of ourselves. Take the case of Medicare expansion in Alabama, and I'm about to close. We all benefit when everyone has access to health care coverage. Some say that you can't afford Medicaid expansion. I say you cannot afford not to expand health care coverage for all Americans. It is a right and not a privilege for the few. Alabama's decision not to expand Medicaid directly impacts 250,000 Alabamians, working Alabamians who fall through the cracks, who make too much to qualify for our state's very restricted menial income requirement, but they make too little to afford private insurance. Their ability to get access to health care coverage means that they can't wait. But they do, because they don't have health care coverage. And guess what? We all pay for it on the back end. They come to the hospitals chronically ill, on death's bed, and all of us share in the increase in health care premiums. What affects one of us directly affects all of us indirectly. In conclusion, I want all of you to remember that you have a powerful platform. If you remember nothing else that I've said, please remember that what affects one of us directly does affect all of us indirectly. That your job is not simply to be a practitioner, but to be an advocate. As I began by telling the great story of Pamela, I want to end with two pieces of advice told to me by another constituent. Her name was Amelia Boynton Robinson, and she, at 103 years old, was my guest at the State of the Union in 2015. On the anniversary of the famous march from Selma to Montgomery, that march, Amelia Boynton was there, bludgeoned on a bridge, and at 103 in 2015, as my special guest, had the opportunity to meet President Barack Obama. We were in a holding room off to the side. She was precious cargo at 103. And Dean Vickers, we had to get lots and lots of permission from her medical team in order to have her travel from Alabama to Washington, but it was oh so worth it. We're in a holding room, and as the president's cabinet came into that holding room, each person said to a person the same thing. Daniel, your class president, said it. They all said to Miss Amelia, "Oh, Miss Amelia, we stand on your shoulders. Oh, Miss Amelia, it was because of your courage and the courage of those freedom fighters that so many of us enjoy the liberties, the freedoms that we now do. We know that the price of freedom is not free. Oh, Miss Amelia, we stand on your shoulders." So by the time the last member of the cabinet came through, Eric Holder, who at the time was the Attorney General, and knelt down beside her wheelchair and said, "Miss Amelia, I stand on your shoulders. I get to," she stopped him and she said, "All of you, get off my shoulders. Do your own work. There's plenty of work to be done. Do your own work." It's now on a post-it in my bathroom. Do your own work. When President Obama finally came into that holding room with minutes to go before the State of the Union, he knelt down beside her, and I think all of us understood the gravity of that moment. She cradled his face with her frail hands at 103. And the president knelt beside her and said, "Thank you. It doesn't seem adequate to say thank you. I get to give a speech in a few minutes as the President of the United States of America, and it's because of your courage. Saying thank you doesn't seem adequate." She looked up at him, and without missing a beat, as he said, "I get to give a speech," she stopped him, and she said, "Make it a good one. That better be a really good speech. I've waited a lifetime to hear it. I've waited a lifetime to see you embody that which was worth being bludgeoned on a bridge." The second truthism that I leave with you with is that you should make each and every day a good one, because you all stand on the shoulders of giants, not just in your medical field, but in your own personal lives, who dedicated, fought, sacrificed for you to have this degree today. You should make every decision a good one, or the best one you can, and you should remember humbly how you got here. And remember, in the eyes of the patients that you serve is a reflection of our own humanity. So in closing, I just want to say to the class, the mighty class of 2021, we're counting on you. We're counting on you to get into what my former colleague, John Lewis, would say, good trouble. We're counting on you to be good stewards of the resources, and that you will see in every patient their humanity. You will resist unconscious bias and see that every patient deserves your very best. And the vulnerable among us, well, they deserve your A game. Make it a good one.
Congressman Sewell, thank you for reminding us that we all have work to do. Thank you for reminding us that we stand on the shoulders of our loved ones and those who we don't know who fought for us in this way. Now, in the concept that you said, understand that we are inextricably linked in this web, that when something happens to another, it directly, indirectly affects all of us. Well, to that end, we're going to give this for you to hang in your office. This is an excerpt from Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail. Speaks to what you talked about. And you don't need to hang it in Birmingham, hang it in Washington. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Dr. Hosley, would you come up?
Good afternoon. This week, our individual campuses and departments presented various awards to our graduating students. You will find those awards listed in your program. At this time, I would like to ask all the students who were presented with awards this week to please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. The Dempsey Award is given in remembrance of the late Dr. Hugh Dempsey, a professor of medicine. In 1972, Dr. Dempsey was appointed as the first director of the newly created Office of Student Affairs at the University of Alabama School of Medicine. This award is presented honoring the member of the graduating class with the highest cumulative academic performance during the entire 4 years of medical school. I would like to ask Meredith Tomley to come forward and receive the 2021 Dempsey Award. The Leonard Toe Humanism in Medicine Awards are presented by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation to a graduating student and faculty member who best demonstrate outstanding compassion in the delivery of care, respect for patients, their families, and healthcare colleagues, as well as demonstrated clinical excellence. Each year, the fourth-year class submits nominations for the student and faculty member they feel most embody the characteristics of humanism in medicine and who are most deserving of these awards. This year's student winner is Taylor Bono from the class of 2021, and this year's faculty winner is Dr. Brittany Corey from the Department of Surgery. Please come forward to receive your awards. Dr. Michael Bivens, President of the Medical Alumni Association, will now present the Alumni Association Award for Leadership and Community Service. Dr. Bivens.
Good afternoon. I, along with thousands of alumni, want to first say congratulations, and we welcome you to the University of Alabama Medical Alumni Association. As president of the Medical Alumni Association, it is my honor to present the Alumni Award for Leadership and Community Service. Each year, this award is given to a student who has demonstrated leadership efforts in education, societal, and healthcare needs. The selected nominee would also receive a gift of $500 from the Medical Alumni Association. There were multiple worthy candidates nominated by your campus leadership that we considered. However, this award goes to Alicia Williams. Now, as Alicia makes her way up to the stage, I want to introduce and reintroduce you to Alicia. Alicia is a former NCAA Division I women's basketball player, where she led her team as captain. She further displayed her leadership when she took a summer off and she went to Ghana, where she taught basketball clinics and built houses. She then carried this leadership and continued it into medical school, where she was the Huntsville class representative for her learning community. She was a diversity ambassador, co-leader for her cases and conversation group. She was passionately involved in the State Born Ready project. She served as program leader for Girls Talk, and she was elected to the Student National Medical Association Regional Liaison. I want to share with you a few words from Dr. Lanita Carter, the Director of Medical Education and Student Services at the School of Medicine Huntsville campus. Alicia is a very personable young woman who is quick to smile and is well liked by all around her. Her compassion and keen sense of commitment to patient care has earned her the Gold Humanism Honor Society Award, which is an honor bestowed by faculty and classmates. Alicia has all traits of a servant leader. Alicia is very conscientious, and her nature ensures her success. She will have a very successful residency. By the way, she has matched in pediatrics here and will start her residency this summer. Alicia, we're so glad to honor you for your hard work and dedication with the 2021 Alumni Award for Leadership and Community Service.
Thank you, Dr. Bivens, for sharing, and congratulations to all of our students for their awards. We're getting close to the point where we begin to award our degrees, but we have one other award to present before that. Typically in this state, when we look at rankings, particularly being in the top 10, we start with football. But I would like to bring your attention, UAB for the last 6 to 7 years has been ranked in the top 10 of all NIH-funded public medical schools, and by far is the youngest. We have one of the largest hospital systems and one of the largest public hospitals in the country, which I would argue also ranks within the top 10. But all of these statuses and all of this growth certainly couldn't occur without not only leaders, but our faculty, but partnerships and support. But let me make it simple. It would not occur without money. And the part of our institution that generates resources is our health system. And many medical schools suffer because health system leaders fail to recognize that academic growth, research and education is fundamental to attracting top students, top faculty, and top talent. Our honoree today has understood that. He's a native of Alabama, native of Mobile, began his career in healthcare at UAB, but quickly transitioned to the national scale to be a senior leader at the University of Pennsylvania for nearly 15 years. He returned to the South for a brief stint as the CEO of the University of Mississippi, and we were fortunate to recruit him back to be the CEO of the UAB Health System. Dr. Fernandy has been a central part of our growth of our academic medical community. When I mentioned to our dean's team, not his team, about this award, there was unanimous support to say we wouldn't be who we are without Will's support. In practice, Dr. Fernani is the CEO of the UAB Health System, the CEO of the UAB Ascension St. Vincent's Alliance. And during his tenure at UAB, he's grown the 5 hospital systems to 11 hospitals, from about $2.4 billion to nearly $6 billion in revenue. He's been a champion for Medicaid funding. He's been a resource for helping develop a strategy for developing a rural healthcare plan in and across the state of Alabama. When the governor asked him to take on failing hospitals, which meant risks for us losing money, he willingly took on those hospitals who now are each making money and taking care of their citizens. But most of all, for here at UAB and the nation, Will deserves recognition for his unwavering support to academic medicine. He's had the rare opportunity to serve in a seminal achievement of position as the chair of the board of the American Medical Association, American Medical College Association, if you would, the AAMC. And that's the organization that represents, if you would, all of our academic medical centers. He clearly has engaged with me each time we've recruited a new senior leader, when we've recruited an outstanding medical scientist. And as I practically mentioned, he's been willing to put forth not only his interests, but the resources that have allowed us to achieve the things we need to support the school that we have and the research that we want to do, and most of all, the care for our patients in this state. So to that end, this award for Dr. Fernani is not only for recognition for what he's created, but a legacy we want to continue. So this will be an annual award given to a healthcare executive who demonstrates that commitment to the academic mission. So the Will Fernani Award's first recipient is Dr. Will Fernani, but we will have many more because of the hard work and the legacy of Dr. Will Fernani. Congratulations, Will. So I told him I didn't like the font, so we're going to get a little bigger font, but it is a beautiful plaque that he will have to have at his home and office. Thank you.
All right, and now the part you've been waiting for, the hooding ceremony. My name is Nick Van Wagener. I serve as the Associate Dean for Students. What we will do now is have our students approach the stage by learning community. You can find a list of the learning communities in which your students are a part in the program. I'll announce each learning community's name and their faculty mentor who will lead the students on the stage. Will the first row of students please rise and approach with your doctoral hoods? We'll start with the Barfield Carter Learning Community. Samir Dalvi, MD, is the lead mentor. Abed Ali. Shivani Anathasakar. David Christopher Booker, Jr. Anna Nicole Gann. Okay. Michelle Nguyen. Spalding F. Solar IV. Bean Wu. Next will be the Findlay Learning Community. Pilar Acosta Lara, MD, is the lead mentor. Justin Bailey. Elizabeth Byers. Matthew James Bird. Helen Herndon Cunningham. Carolyn Frances Dishuk. Majid Habash. Lily Christine Mailer. Mallory Enzor Marshall. Claire Elaine Pettit. Jenna Nell Stanford. Madeline Elizabeth Tomaso. Next, we have the Hamilton Learning Community, Marissa Nadalison Love, MD, lead mentor. Mark Christopher Allen. Jeffrey Brent Elder. Rumsha Ferret. Farah Amoy Joaquim Fullerton. Meghana Gaini. Mary Caitlin Johnson. Skylar Gentry Jones. Akil Koshik. Sindhu Lakur. Jennifer Franklin Lamar. Nicole Denise Shanae Lassiter. Kevin Narangate. William G. Nolan, Jr. Morgan Lee Reed. Nicholas John Rivers. Paul St. Clair. Justin Bryant Wimberly. Next, we have the Harrison Learning Community, Chandra Blakemore, MD, lead mentor. Amr Bobby. Sarah Elizabeth Carden. Candace Clemens Clark. Raktima Dada. Amy Nicole Hudson. Joseph Samuel McKelway. Roman Travis. Dustin Trotman. Alicia Lachey Williams. Catherine Baldwin Greisman. Taylor R. Bono. Britton Elizabeth Cawthorne. Alex Michael D'Amico. William Randall Davis. Danielle Morgan Joyner. Graham Kirshner. Evan Soon Lee. Olga Vadlanova Manuvakova. Michael Carr Matthews. John Goodson McLemore. Vinayak Good Mamula. Mohammed Moknier. Ashka Raju Patel. Harrison McNeil Thompson. Margaret Alice Williams. Hershowitz Learning Community, Stephanie Berger, MD, faculty mentor. Alexander James DeCubelis. Karen Dean. Rebecca Elaine England. Alexandra Raquel Gubbles. Kurt Carl Kamina. Ketrick Lonnie Lacoste. Hugh Le. Dustin Cole Marshall. Larson Miller. Jacqueline Morris. Daniel Seraph. Sylvia Yvonne Sontheimer. Neha Udayakumar. Next, we have the Kirkland Learning Community, Sergio Stanio, MD, Faculty Mentor. Candace Adedokin. Reza John Atras. Hannah Beer Mackey. Jamie Elizabeth Bice. Peyton Alexander Davis. Turkin Alinea Essensoy. Jillian Garver. John Schuyler Graham. Caleb Hillier. Brandon Honeywell. Justin Kim. Andrew Botcher Neesmith. Shri Kariti Rajan. Weston Andrew Smedley. Shannon Elizabeth Snellgrove. Parita Suteria. Meredith Tomley Casals. Christopher Ryan Walls. Lions Learning Community, Caroline Harada, MD, Faculty Mentor. Emily Austin. Chelsea Elena Berger. Luke Raymond Casals. Nidhi Goel. Sullivan Clyde Hanback. Zasmeen Himes Green. Aaron Mackenzie Katz. Morgan Alexis Owens. Julio Cesar Santana. Olimide Lorinda. Zachary Witten Solly. Blake Andrew Sowers. Sarah Jessica Stone Summerlin. Garrison Cole Veazey. Raymond Paul Waldrop III. Jared Bruce Watson. McCallum Learning Community, Todd McCarty, MD, Lead Mentor. Pujitha Balakrishnan. Ryan Cooper Bynum. Thomas Stewart DePriest. Jordi Garcia Diaz. Christian Marshall Hirsink. Mani Zara Kamal. Emily Noling. Benjamin McCafferty. Meredith Moore Montgomery. Elizabeth Lurie Nichols. Cami Rosemary Velasquez. Operl Learning Community, David Reserve, PhD, Faculty Mentor. Jessica Lee Adams. Audrey Eng. Catherine Swint Barnes. Morgan Brazel. Matthew Harold Brown. Zachary Robert Burns. Addison Mark Semino. Elizabeth Hendrickson. Ryan Curvin. Zachary Lee Littlefield. Scott Robinson McClure. Alexander Perry Nocera. William Blake Swikert. Emma Carol Thompson. Pittman Learning Community, Star Steinhilber, lead mentor. Abigail Gosden Bennett. Rachel Ina Kasky. Vina Danthaluri. Gracie Ernstberger. Martha Kate Lauren Faulkner. Glenn Gilbert Irby. James Rush Jones. Ellie Reed Kaplan. Sydney Michelle Moore. Romil Kanu Patel. There we go. Grant Dellinger Smith. Brian Patrick Stahl. Hillary Beth Vaughn. Joshua Lloyd Washington. Kevin Yang. Medical Scientist Training Program, William Geisler, MD, Co-Director. Shaima Dowla Anwar, PhD. Nicholas James Eustace, PhD. Muan Hu, PhD. Timothy Irving Cannell Jr., PhD. Mark Emil Pepin, PhD. Jeffrey Robert Singer, PhD. Students in the Oromaxillofacial Residency Program, John Min Trung Le, DDS. Matthew Anthony Stratton, DMD. Stefan James Vila, DDS. Thank you, everyone. This now concludes the end of the hooding ceremony. I now ask Dr. Hussein Abdulatif, the 2020 faculty recipient of the Leonard Toe Humanism in Medicine Award, to come forward to lead you in reading of the Oath of Hippocrates. Dr. Abdulatif.
Good afternoon, everybody. For those who are physicians in the room, and that includes those who just graduated, please stand up and repeat after me. I swear by that which I hold most sacred. Repeat after me. Well, I swear by that which I hold most sacred, that according to my ability, I will keep this, my oath and covenant. With purity, I will pass my life and practice my art. I will use my abilities to heal my patients to the best of my judgment. And I will abstain from harming or wronging anyone. As I labor in the institutions of healing, my first thoughts will be the life, happiness, and health of my patients. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Into whatever houses I enter, I will go into them for the benefit of my patients. And whatsoever I shall see or hear in the course of my profession, as well as outside of my profession in my interactions with others, if it be what should not be published abroad, I will not divulge, holding such things to be sacred. For the sake of the sick, I will pursue knowledge of this art throughout the days of my life. I will try to treat my fellow physicians in this art as I wish them to treat me. With eagerness, I will learn from my fellow physicians. And with humility, I will share my knowledge with them. In respect for those who have led me into the paths of medicine, I will lead those who follow me. Should I transgress these promises, may my soul know no peace. But while I keep this oath inviolate, may it be granted to me to enjoy life and the practice of art. Forever honored by all people. Thank you.
Abdul Latif. Everyone should be seated except our graduates. I won't keep you standing long. You should get used to this, from Dr. Jessica Lee Adams to Dr. Kevin Yang, to being called doctor. And this will be the first day that will be the case. You are really esteemed graduates, and you've learned and trained from some of the most talented physician leaders in medicine in the country. You've put in countless hours of studying, pre-rounding, Zoom calls, transitioning, wearing masks, and taking care of sick patients. You've worked to master complicated techniques and procedures, and you've passed multiple high-stakes exams. And you've applied and been accepted to some of the best residency programs in our country. So you have a lot to be proud of, as well as your parents, and we're proud of you. The last thing we do, as tradition dictates, you now are doctors of medicine. Your tassel now needs to be moved to the left. Let's stand and applaud our graduates. Everyone will stand. This deserves that long applause because we certainly weren't sure and didn't know if this celebration would occur in person. It has occurred, and we're excited, and this ends our graduation ceremony. We thank you for the conclusion, for the hard work, and for all those who've contributed. Thank you for our faculty and our graduates. This concludes our ceremony.